When it comes to discussing the realities of parenting, you can expect some sensitive material and occasional profanity.
Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Anonymous Mom, a podcast where two childhood friends reconnect to discuss mom life, adulting, and everything in between.
And this week, we are talking about being touched out.
And all I can think in my head is, can't touch this. Do, 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 do. Can't touch it. That's all I
do the
yeah,
shimmy.
The shimmy, yeah.
What were they, parachute pants, dude?
Yep.
I have that 21 Pilots Stressed Out, but Touched Out instead. You know that song?
No.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days.
Okay, yeah.
You know that one? Instead
Yeah.
of stressed out, touched out. That's what I have in my head.
So this is kind of a little bit past my age of kids because having
your kids
12,
don't want to.
Yeah, they still like to snuggle and stuff like that, but I'm not, and I am not a touchy person.
Yeah.
I have always had a problem.
You're a Gemini.
Yeah, I don't like being, I'm a hugger. Like I like hugging, but I don't like touching. Like when my husband and I first started dating, he's very much a PDA sort of a person, and I am not. So I had a really hard time. But I also too didn't have emotion either.
And you're also a Capricorn moon. Like, let's keep going here.
Yeah, see? So he's always been, my husband, I think, has his love language is touch. Like that is his love language. Mm-hmm. So he's always I get more touched out from my husband than I do my children. But I do remember when the kids were younger, him coming home and I being like, don't touch me. I don't want anybody touching me. I do not want anybody's hands. I don't want skin to skin.
Yeah.
Nothing. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, I do remember those days because it's when someone always wants your attention, whether it be physical or mental or emotional, you're kind of touched out.
Do you feel like you remember when there was a shift in that? Like what age?
Like I said, my kids still do like to snuggle with me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would probably say more like school age when they're busy and they can't. I mean, with you, your daughter is 5, right?
Close.
Yeah.
In a month or 2 months.
So like, is she still?
Yeah, maybe we should just start talking about it because it's not so much like just constant hugging as just touching.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I probably was worse when I was a kid, I feel like.
Okay.
Just because of who I am. But yeah, just that the neediness of
the neediness. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's where they're at a certain age. And I mean, that shifts, when they're developmentally shifting, but
right.
It's when you're in that burnout that you really, maybe let's just talk about it. And then
So the article that I found was 9 things to know if you're feeling touched out.
Yes.
And this is from Romper.
And you sent this and I don't remember what my response was, but it was like, oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, that's a thing. Okay, good. Because I'm feeling that.
Because I feel like an asshole.
Oh, no. It turns out this is a very common feeling for parents to experience. So not uncommon.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's more for younger parents because you're constantly holding a kid sometimes and breastfeeding and all that. Mm-hmm. Number one, it's normal to feel this way.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing we really need to reiterate is that this is normal.
Yeah, this is not talked about.
Yeah, it's not talked about. And I think because then you're like, well, why wouldn't you want to have that all the time? Whether it be nursing, co-sleeping, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're constantly being touched. And I also think too, that's the first thing we do when we want to console somebody is touch them. So 2, you're not a bad parent for feeling touched out. Again.
Yeah, if you try and share that to somebody like, God, I just need my kid to stop touching me for 5 minutes. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And again, it's not this idea of never touch me again. It's just you reach a limit. My limit's definitely high because of how I am.
Yeah.
I think my tolerance of touch is higher than other people's.
Yeah.
But anybody, it doesn't, no matter, everybody has a limit.
A threshold, yes.
Yeah,
and it says humans do need physical touch, but they also need alone time, which we've talked about that numerous times. I also have an episode on it, but it is not uncommon. And I also think, so now they said, you're not a bad partner for feeling touched out. And I think that's one thing that you need to have that open communication when it comes to a partner to understand that.
Or if you're on the other receiving.
Yes. Yes.
If you're the one who is a touchy person, that other person isn't, it's not a slight against that person not loving you.
Right. And I remember being like, I've had someone touching me all day long. I've had someone and I do not, like, when you come in the house, do not touch me. Just don't touch me. I also think, and you would understand this too, and if you're into energy and stuff like that, and you're listening to this, touching is a very big connection with energy. You transfer energy by touching.
Yes.
And that was one thing where I was like, I don't want you touching me because what I'm going to be giving you through that touch is not going to be good. Like, the energy I'm giving off ain't good. So.
Oh, interesting though. You put something in my head. So when I was a server, I remember getting this Reiki massage. It wasn't Reiki, but it was a massage infused with Reiki. And I remember this person saying, you have to take a shower. She's like, I don't care if you get done with work at 2 a.m. She's like, it's so important for you to cleanse that energy off of you. And so I never thought about that with parenting, how we should be taking a shower at the end of the night. And there's actually a really big debate on Twitter of, are you a morning shower or a night shower? And I'm like, damn, I never thought about showering at night.
My husband showers at night because he comes home from work.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's always been that way.
Yeah.
And I've always been a morning shower person because I like to shower and blow dry my hair. But I used to, when I had the spray tanning studio, I would come home after a crazy day of energy. And my Reiki lady also told me, she's like, you need to shower. She's like, you don't have to get your hair wet. You don't just stand in the shower and get all that energy off. Transfer of energy is huge.
I think I'm gonna have to try and do that. Like, I usually shower right before I pick her up. Like, I don't take a lunch break.
You're an afternoon shower.
I'm an afternoon shower. And so it's like, but then it's interesting because it's like, I know it dries out your skin, but maybe I just need to be showering twice in a day.
Oh, that's so bad for you. We'll go over that in the next episode. Showering twice a day is not good. You're not supposed to shower every day. It's not good for your natural oils.
All right, fine. Next.
Next. So then another one. This is super common with anybody who is breastfeeding because obviously you are touching all day long. Some people adore that touch and some people don't.
Yeah, and it's not a slight if somebody, I mean, there's just people neurologically who aren't wired to enjoy touch.
Yeah. And it's funny. I'm very selective about touching.
Yeah.
But like I said, I like hugging, but touching can be very, sometimes it makes my skin crawl. And it's funny because I always laugh that my husband is such a toucher. Like when he meets someone or he's by something, he will put their hand on his shoulder. He puts his hand on their shoulder. He touches. Like I will have to be like, oh my God, did you realize how much you just touched that person? And he's like, no, I didn't. He's such a touchy person.
If they did the, what is that with the UV light, you know, where like they show like in a crime scene?
Yeah.
It was his handprints everywhere.
Yeah. He's a touchy guy. He's a touchy guy. It's hilarious. And I'm the opposite. Okay, so number 5, it's okay to seek alone time. I think that this article is really trying to help women or moms.
The one thing I noticed, because I was reading up on this right before we started, it's interesting. I never really looked at the verbiage as much as I did on this for some reason. But with the tips, not this one, I was looking at other ones, but they're all written with your partner. And doing this with your partner is like, can we put it in the context for people who don't have that? You know, because it's like all of them are written when you need time, you just tell your partner that they have to watch it. It's like, yeah, but what if you don't have a partner?
Right.
You know, so it's like all of these are written in this idea of it being so hard with a partner. And it's like, let's take it down a level and what are you supposed to do when you have no escape, you know, for young kids. When they're older, you can go in your room, they can go do their thing. They finally have split off developmentally and want to be independent. But for parents who have just them and their kids, you can't just leave them in a room and be like, okay, now I got my... You know
right.
I mean?
Right. I like this article because I do feel like it's giving the okay for women to feel this way, because I feel like it is something that can kind of be a little taboo that
absolutely
nobody wants to admit that they feel this way. So I really like this because I really do think it's really showing that it's okay. It's okay. It's normal.
Yes.
You're normal. So the numbers
just in relationships in general.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And then number 6, feeling touched out can decrease your sex drive. That's totally normal.
I mean, that seems obvious too. Yeah.
I was going to say again, Captain Obvious, but sex is touching. So, I don't know how you're working it if you're not doing it that way. And even if you're doing it by yourself, you're still touching.
Yeah, you're still touching.
You're still touching. Yeah.
Or something is touching you.
Yes, exactly. Number 7, which is kind of a repeat, but it's important to seek out emotional and physical space. This article, I really, really feel like is really pushing moms to know that this is okay again, because it's kind of repeating itself over and over again.
Yeah.
Which I think you need to hear something 5 times before you really do it.
One of the things I saw for the tips was going out and getting a massage. And I'm just like,
ugh, I don't know.
And then, but they said they're like, it's a different type of touch.
Yes. Yes.
And so they said that it's actually beneficial. And I'm just like,
I mean, maybe if it's someone who actually works with energy too, like the Reiki sort of a thing, would be able to take that and like transfer that energy, maybe. I don't know.
I just think a bath. Like, because like when they said that, I was like, okay, what else is relaxing besides a massage? Because it's like, I don't think a massage is a good idea because you're still having
you still have that physical
somebody
touch.
touching you. And it's like, but a bath.
Yeah.
It's just you getting all of it, you know.
It's also too, that's a detox and a grounding thing too. So then 8, you may want to reevaluate your goals, which means if you are a mother that's nursing, if you're very into bonding with skin to skin, like you may need to take a step back and change what you want to do, which that's okay. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay that maybe what you thought was going to happen didn't happen. There are so many things I said I would never do as a mom, and I fucking did all of them. So now I try really hard to not say I'll never do that as a parent, because every time I said that, I fucking did it. So number 9, which is the last one, and I will scream this to the moon. Therapy can help. Therapy. I really feel like every mother or every parent, it should be mandatory therapy for the first 5 years. Having a child. I don't know. I think it's so beneficial to have somebody else tell you that the way you're feeling, you're not crazy. And to have a support system outside of your friends and your family.
I will say too, the early family and childhood education, they have that where you go in with other parents and kids, the kids have playtime, the parents go in a room and they talk. This should be mandatory and it should be free. But it's like what we were saying before we started recording is a lot of people just don't know this information. The things that are within the realm of common. Ever since I started reading that book, The Book of Normal.
Yeah, I don't like the word normal.
Normal.
Yeah.
It's saying common. The things that they tell you and the things to expect, a lot of people just don't know.
No.
They just think a kid is this ball of clay and you know what? And then it's like there's actual like things that are going on.
Well, and it's also too, I just feel like I've been in therapy for so long that now I can't imagine not having a person to talk to that can give advice or just an ear.
Or just listen, yeah.
Yeah, just to listen. And I don't have to worry about getting unwanted advice. I will scream to everybody if you can get into therapy, which I will tell you it's fucking hard because I was trying to make an appointment for my daughter and it's like a year and a half out to get a fucking therapy appointment.
Oh yeah, I had to wait about a year for...
Yeah, and that's what's hard. But I mean, that's a whole nother, that could be another episode talking about therapy.
We should.
And it's sad because it's not anybody's fault. I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know, like
insurance.
And I don't want to blame. Right. I mean, insurance, but then you call all these places, these other places where you're willing to pay and they still are fucked up. You know, like that's what sucks.
This is what I think it is personally, is we've shifted from, like I said, when we were kids, if you were in therapy, there was something
taboo.
wrong.
Yeah.
You were like, something happened. There's something terrible that happened.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people just want to get their kids in therapy. I mean, granted, there's a lot of reasons why. Like I said, you know, we talk about the shooting drills and all that stuff. Like that's a whole level of anxiety that we just try to normalize because it's common, but people just want to get their kids in therapy to have a therapist because it's not taboo.
Right.
I think that shift's happening because let's have a whole episode on this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say because it is hard, there's this really good picture of this mom and it's on parents.com, but this is also the one that was like talking about you and your partner. And it's like, not everybody has that, but it's hard because it's not that you don't love your children. But it's human to have a limit to that. And I think the problem is that a lot of parents let it go for like you get touched out, but that's not when you go and like recharge. Right. You're usually touched out for a while before you actually acknowledge it. And by that time it becomes a problem, you know? Right. I think that's the problem is because we do feel like even the thought of it makes us bad parents.
Right.
And so we don't acknowledge it, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's hard to explain that, but we say like you're teaching your kids too, you have to let them know that there's limits, but not in a way that makes them feel bad about themselves. Like I said, my limit's a lot, but
When
I
you
just
hit it,
think even how exhausted this is how I know too. Because in the summer, she goes up to Minnesota for a week every month. And she just left on Wednesday. And have you seen this reel of the bear coming out of hibernation?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, I have to show it to you. I'm going to post it when this episode gets released because that's how I felt. You just go, 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 go. And then like once your mind and your body together go, oh, wait, we get to rest. Like it was just, I worked from bed. I was stretching like the whole day. I mean, it just shows like how much you really do need that. But yeah, it felt like I came out of like hibernation. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And you need to have that time. But like I said, when, sometimes you don't have that time. And that's where I feel like socially it highlights like we need to value the things in our society that give to society, but we also need to give back to the people who give to society. I feel like we're really shifting from shame. And that's at the end of the day, I think that's the biggest part of this is
that's what I was
shame.
Really want to reiterate that this is normal. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're not weird. You're not a bad parent. You're not bad. You're not bad for feeling like you're being touched too much. Also, too, it makes you step back and think about how you are as a person and being okay with not being a toucher. I mean, I know so many people that aren't huggers. Take a step back and be like, I need to do this for me. Yeah. I love my child. I am normal. Step back, step in your power, take it in, take some,
I have to say this though. If you are feeling touched out, I'm going to try and be mindful of this. Switch your showers to nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm going to give that a shot. And it does make sense to get into your bed clean. Like, it's so funny, this debate, and I'm sure we're going to have it with our bath time struggle, but because like there is this big debate of when you're supposed to clean yourself. That's our next episode. So tune in next week for that. But that's all the time we have for this week. If you've experienced being touched out, please comment on the Facebook group, or if you have tips on what you do when you're touched out,
please share.
Tapped out from parenting. And we will talk to you all next week.
Peace out. Thanks for tuning in to Anonymous Mom. Have a question you want answered or a topic you'd love for us to discuss?
Email us at anonymousmompod@gmail.com. Or if you want to remain anonymous, join our Facebook group, Anonymous Mom, where you can post your topic or question anonymously.
Thanks for listening.